Billy Butcher spent 8 years hunting the most powerful man alive. Every sacrifice justified. Every line crossed for a reason. We call it a revenge story.
William Butcher. What do you want?
You know what I want.
That's the comfortable read. And it's wrong. Butcher doesn't want justice. He wants something to be instead of someone who's falling apart. And the thing he's been running on instead of facing, you're probably carrying a version of it right now. To understand how he got here, you have to go back. Before the coat, before the temp fee, before he had anything to wake up angry for. Butcher didn't start as a weapon. He started as a husband. He loved Becca. Not perfectly, not without complications, but genuinely. She was the one real thing in a life built otherwise on violence and survival. She didn't fix him, let's be clear about that. She just loved him in a way that didn't require him to be anything he wasn't. No performance, no armor. She looked at this angry, damaged man, a man whose father broke him in ways he'd never talk about. And she stayed. That's the part that wrecked him later. Not that Homelander took her, that she chose him first, that for a little while, he got to be someone who mattered without having to destroy anything to prove it. Then Homelander assaulted her. Becca disappeared. Vought covered it up, and the world moved on, like she never existed. Butcher knew something happened. Couldn't prove it. Couldn't find her. So he aimed. Here's what the show keeps circling, without ever saying it directly. Watch what the hatred actually does for him. It isn't just fuel for a mission, it's structure. It's something to be instead of someone who is falling apart. Think about who Butcher was before. A guy trying, probably failing most days, biting back the anger his father planted in him, showing up for someone who believed he could be better. That's exhausting. It takes everything you have. The second he thought she was gone forever, he didn't have to do it anymore. The mask dropped. He could become exactly what his father always said he was. A spiteful bastard who ruins everything he touches. Homelander didn't make Butcher a monster. The anger he already carried just finally had a face to aim at. Watch how he builds the team. He's not assembling soldiers. He's collecting broken people and pointing them at a target. Huey's there because his girlfriend got turned into red mist on a sidewalk.
I can't stop.
MM's there because a soup killed his family.
You mean do Homelander?
Frenchie and Kimiko are there because they've got nowhere else to go. Everyone on that team is running on grief, or trauma, or both, and Butcher knows it. He's not trying to help them. He's making sure their wounds stay open, because people who are healing don't make good soldiers. A man who'd processed his loss would have built something with an exit strategy, something with a future attached. Butcher built a machine that runs on damage and has no off switch. Huey sees it. That's the whole arc between them. Huey keeps asking questions.
Actually winning.
Butcher stopped asking years ago, is this worth it? Are we becoming the thing we're fighting? What happens when it's over? Butcher hates those questions. Not because they're wrong, because they're exactly right. Every time Huey asks what comes after, Butcher finds a new crisis to aim at, because that question only has one honest answer. Nothing. There is no after. He never built one. Most of us have pointed at a new crisis for the same reason. Then the show pulls the rug. Becca comes back, not as a memory, not as a motivation, as a living, breathing person who made a choice he can't process. She didn't just survive.
Becca.
She'd been raising Ryan in secret, building something real inside a situation she didn't fully control, instead of burning it all down. And when Butcher finally finds her, when he gets the thing he's been destroying himself to reach, she says the 4 words he can't survive hearing: I don't want to be saved. Sit with that. 8 years of purpose, gone in a sentence. Not because she was angry at him. That would have been easier to absorb. What she gave him instead was something far more devastating. A clear picture of who she actually was and what she actually needed, and neither had anything to do with him. She didn't spend 8 years waiting. She spent 8 years becoming someone. And Butcher cannot receive that. Because loving her was supposed to be the thing that finally made him make sense. If she doesn't need saving, the hatred doesn't have a reason. And if the hatred doesn't have a reason, everything he's done was just a man destroying himself because he couldn't sit with the loss. So he makes a choice. Not consciously maybe, but he makes it. He picks his version of Becca, the one who needs him, the one who justifies everything, over the real woman asking him to let go. Because if he stops hating Homelander, he has to start looking at himself. And that's the one thing he won't do. Maybe it's not a supervillain, but there's someone, the one who did real damage and walked away clean, who had the power, used it wrong, and watched the system close around them like it always does for people like that. And you've been keeping them alive in your head ever since. Not because you can't move on, because letting go feels like agreeing that it didn't matter, that it didn't happen, that you don't get to be angry about it anymore. Butcher knows that feeling. It's the whole reason he's still standing. You know what it feels like. Their name comes up and you feel it. The tightening. The prepared speech you've rehearsed so many times, it has the shape of truth now, even in the places where it's missing things. That's the trap. The identity built on the anger. Because once the person who wronged you becomes the reason you are the way you are, you need them to stay wrong. You need the story to hold. If it doesn't, you don't just lose the anger, you lose the explanation. And then you're just a person with a wound and no one to blame for it. Butcher needed the story to hold. So he kept going. Then Becca dies. Season 2 finale. Ryan's powers activate trying to protect her from Stormfront. His own heat vision reflected back. The child she spent years protecting is the reason she doesn't make it. She dies in Butcher's arms and asks one thing.
You promised me you keep him safe.
Tell Ryan it wasn't his fault. Protect him. Butcher gives Ryan to Grace Mallory. Keeps the promise on paper. But by season 3, he's working alongside Soldier Boy.
You ever see the Soldier Boy's story?
Must have missed it.
A man whose power can strip soups of everything, including Ryan. He keeps going anyway. That's what hatred actually does. It doesn't destroy the people you're aiming at. It destroys the things you said mattered. Season 4. Butcher is dying. The Temp V is killing him from the inside. He's not slowing down. Huey asks what the point is. What happens when Homelander's finally gone? Butcher doesn't answer. He stopped pretending a long time ago. The anger made sense. It was built on something real. Someone real was taken from him. The rage was never the problem. The problem is, he made it into a house and moved in. And by the time he noticed, he couldn't find the door. I know what that looks like from the inside. There was someone I blamed for a long time, not violently, but I kept them alive in my head in a way that served me. Every time something went wrong, it was easier to trace it back to them than to sit with what was underneath. Just loss, just grief. The anger felt like clarity, like at least I knew what the problem was. It took a long time to realize I wasn't holding anyone accountable. I was just avoiding the thing underneath. Butcher never got there. He saw the cost of everything right at the end and kept going anyway. I almost let mine do the same. The show doesn't give him a redemption arc. It gives him a choice he's been avoiding since Becca disappeared. The lesson is already there, whether he takes it or not. You can be right about who hurt you and still be wrong about what you do with it. You can have every reason to be angry and still let that anger turn you into something you don't recognize. Hatred doesn't care about justice. It doesn't care about healing. It only cares about staying alive. And it'll burn through everything you have, everyone you love, every promise you ever made, just to keep the fire going one more day. The cost isn't what you do to your enemies. It's what you do to yourself. Becca asked him to let go, not for Homelander's sake, for his own. He couldn't hear it. Maybe he still can't. But you can. You still have time to put it down. Maybe that's the whole thing. Maybe it always was.